Meet Zuul crurivastator. Zuul was an ankylosaur, a species of armored dinosaur that lived 75 million years ago. It is known from a single specimen discovered in Montana, in the western United States. To date, it is the best preserved tail-clubbed ankylosaur fossil from North America. Zuul's skull features a set of distinctive horns, and its body has many large, bony armor plates called osteoderms, and a well-armored tail club with a distinctive knob of bone. The fossil also includes some preserved soft tissue, including skin and tendons. However, Zuul's legs were not preserved. So how did Zuul transform from this into an extraordinarily well-preserved fossil? To answer this question, let's go back in time and analyze the sequence of events of Zuul's death and fossilization, which we can describe by studying the fossil and the type of rock it was found in, and compare it with observations of the death and decomposition of large animals alive today. Zuul lived and died in a time period called the Late Cretaceous. Its environment on the continent of Laramidia, which now makes up western North America, was warm and subtropical. As a herbivore, Zuul fed on ferns and shrubs. It shared its habitat with other dinosaurs, including Styracosaurus, Hadrosaur, and the carnivorous predator Gorgosaurus. Though the cause of Zuul's death is a mystery, its body eventually made its way into a nearby river. After a few days in the water, decomposition filled the body with gases, which bloated it like a balloon. The bloated carcass, with its back of heavy osteoderm armor, became unstable. The body eventually flipped over and turned upside down in the water. Aquatic animals such as carnivorous turtles and ancient relatives of crocodiles may have scavenged on it. As the river level changed during seasonal floods and droughts, other animals would have had opportunities to dine on Zuul's carcass. Receding river levels gave local land carnivores, such as gorgosaurs and dromaeosaurs, an opportunity to scavenge. The constant rise and fall of the river helped bury Zuul's body at a relatively quick rate. It probably took 4 to 5 sediment-bearing events to completely cover Zuul. Each burying event started with the river rising and submerging Zuul, depositing a new layer of sand over the remains. Between burying events, the river water receded, before rising again, bringing a fresh layer of sand and mud. As the sedimentary burying events progressed, the very heavy tail end of Zuul was buried more rapidly than its front end. This meant its head and shoulders were left exposed for a longer time, and therefore decomposed and broke apart more completely than its tail. Zuul's skull and neck broke away and rolled several feet from its body. Its ribs became detached and fell to the side. By the final burying events, Zuul was positioned on an angle with its tail buried more deeply than its skull and shoulders. Over the following thousands of years, Zuul's skeleton and remaining tissue continued to have additional sediment deposited on top of it. As it was buried deeper, groundwater containing minerals filtered into the bones and soft tissue. These minerals then crystallized, hardened, and turned into rock. This type of fossilization, known as permineralization, helped preserve Zuul's remains so perfectly. It took tens of thousands to millions of years to complete the fossilization process. Even after Zuul had fully transformed into a fossil, it stayed buried for millions of years with sediment continuously being deposited on top of it, and other dinosaurs roaming and living above it. Zuul was a buried, well-preserved fossil for 10 million years before the mass extinction event of dinosaurs, and another unimaginable 66 million years before being discovered, dug up, and prepared for study today.